Welcome to Straight Talk on Project Management, an unscripted and unedited video series with Stoneseed's David Cotgreave. Get in touch with David and find out more about Stoneseed at stoneseed.co.uk. Episode 2, Project Trends, Stoneseed Client Needs and the Evolution of Project Management as a Service. What project trends are we seeing nowadays?
A lot of organisations found themselves in quite a difficult position from a technology perspective now, at the start of the pandemic, because, not quite overnight, but almost, we were all told, well, you now need to stay at home. So there was a lot of frantic, rushing around trying to make sure that, there was access for people remotely, that they all had, laptops, or they were able to access systems from home. We then moved on to the, Zoom or Teams or, whatever your chosen platform was. And, it was a big ask for a lot of organisations. And I think that, there's lessons that have been learned. So anything that helps with flexibility, anything that helps with resilience, anything helps to be more adaptable, and anything that delivers all those things to colleagues, clients or customers is what we're seeing. So that may be a traditional infrastructure type environment, but making it available 24/7, making it easier to increase capacity, using hosting services or cloud services, whatever it may be. The same in terms of how applications are architected and delivered. So I wouldn't say there's any kind of specific trend that we're seeing in terms of the technology space, but everything that we are seeing is really trying to address those objectives and that criteria for our clients.
Stoneseed seem to be remarkably well placed and ready for that whole need for remote working. Is that a fair observation?
It is, yeah, absolutely. And we're sat in our offices here, and if we brought all of our project managers and BAs and the rest of the professional services team here, then we wouldn't be able to accommodate them, and that's because they are working remotely. They always have done. That's a combination often of on client site and true remote working. So we've been geared up for it. Always have been. So for us, actually, it was easier for us to accommodate. Culturally, it was slightly different because clients were now saying, well, obviously you can't come on site either. So it was more trying to work through some of those challenges about how you got the clients on the Teams calls, for example. How do you undertake a requirements workshop with 20 people, all of whom are remote and are a 2 centimetre square on your laptop screen? But the actual mechanics of doing it and the experience of doing it is something that we and our colleagues are familiar with doing.
What kind of projects are Stoneseed's clients asking for help with?
As I kind of alluded to earlier, it's projects really that are helping them to secure those foundations, I suppose, that having learned from what's been required over the last couple of years, people want to make sure not just that they're ready to work remotely. I don't mean that. I mean that they are ready to react, ready to be able to adapt. Be more agile, I suppose, if you like, from a project perspective, in terms of their IT solutions and how those IT solutions are supporting business value, generation of business value, and we're seeing that as well in the PMO space, for example. So project management office as a service is something that we've delivered for a number of years, but as with all of our services, they've evolved based on client need and client demand. And the PMO service, 3, 4, 5 years ago, would very much have been focused on the governance elements of project delivery. So, have you done your RAID log? Have you filled in your plan? Have you done your your steering group presentation, etc., etc. Now it's much more focused on the strategic level, the portfolio level, what is the value of delivering this program or these projects into my organisation. And it's a subtle difference, but it's a huge difference actually for what that PMO is there to do and what it stands for. And we've got lots of clients where we're delivering the PMO service, and it's the PMO service that are working with, you know, the CIO and the other directors to understand what needs to be delivered in order for them to achieve their business objectives. And that's nothing different, it's nothing new. You know, I stood up 15, 20 years ago and talked about the need to, you know, understand where you go and understand what you've got and understand how you're going to get there, you know, and making sure that it delivers benefit and value to your organisation. But the way that that's now being delivered through project and the value of project management and its associated services within an enterprise is really quite satisfying to see. Yeah, we're no longer asked to come in, or we're rarely asked to come in because a client doesn't have any project governance or any project structure or understand why they need it. 8 years ago, we used to do that all the time. We'd be going in and explaining to somebody why they needed project management. People understand that, and they understand and are starting to understand more the value that delivers and can deliver, more importantly, within their organisation. And as I say, I think that's satisfying to me, that's satisfying to people within that project management community, that it's kind of getting the recognition, I suppose, for a lot of you know, unsung heroes and heroines who are you know, delivering projects and have been for years quietly in the background within an organisation.
PMaaS feels like it's really evolved over the last couple of years. Has the environment shaped that, and has it shaped the services that you offer?
I think PMaaS is always evolving in the, you know, we didn't sit down in a darkened room and come up with PMaaS as a concept and then try and go and sell it to people. We came up with PMaaS because clients were asking us for access to experienced, knowledgeable resources, but on an on-demand basis with, you know, no real upfront sort of commitment, if you like. And we've taken that and we've worked with our clients as they've been challenging us and asking us for slightly different ways of doing things, or, you know, the BA service would be a really good example. You know, 5-6 years ago, we didn't really have BA as a service. You know, until a client said to us, well, we're interested in a new CRM system, and we said, why? And they said, well, we're not really sure, but the project manager will help us establish that. And we were saying, well, maybe not. Maybe actually what you need is a business analyst to come in and help you understand why you need things, and, you know, where ultimately you're trying to get to in terms of your objectives. So that's quite a good example, as is Technical Design Authority, technical architecture as part of that model, alongside PMO as a service as well. So we continue to evolve it. In direct answer to your question, has the last couple of years shaped it differently? It shaped it differently in terms of the way the services are consumed and delivered. So we're still delivering the core, as we always have done, but the way in which we now deliver it remotely, using different tools, different techniques, are the things that have changed as we've had to adapt to, you know, remote working. Fundamentally, it was easier, to be perfectly honest, when you walked in and you had a room of 20, 30 people and you were talking to them about what they needed and what the challenges were going to be, and you were helping to shape and define that roadmap with them. It's very difficult to do that on screen when you can't see people, when, you know, you can't see whether everybody's paying attention, and, you know, just some of those interpersonal and cues that you miss, and you've got to adapt. And I think everybody's had to adapt to that over the last few years, and, you know, you start to be able to pick up those cues now, don't you, on a Zoom screen or a Teams screen or whatever it might be, which probably a couple of years ago you'd have thought, yeah, no, well, you know, you're just looking at me as two-dimensionally. So I think that's the main thing. Clients are saying, well, we're happy with remote working now, which I suppose culturally is a slight shift as well. So, presenteeism is perhaps not such a big word as it once was, not just in project environment, I guess across organisations as a whole. But just because we've got a project manager assigned to a project, I don't need to see them sat in front of me for 8.5 hours for that day. I know that it's about outputs and delivery, and that they're working remotely, because people have demonstrated it and proved it that it works.
Next time, talent gaps, IR35, and the benefits of project management as a service. You can get in touch with Stoneseed's David Cotgreave and find out more about Stoneseed at stoneseed.co.uk. In the meantime, thank you for watching and goodbye.